Hey, good evening. Really excited here in just a few days. I'm going to get an opportunity to meet a lot of you great leaders and really looking forward to it. I'm really excited about uh, not just the company we're involved with, but more importantly, the people that we're involved with. And so I know Ron and I, we wanted to just do this so that we had a chance to, kind of do a campfire side, just chat and talk to you about some of the things that we're going to try to do. And if anybody has anything as we're sharing at an event that you've been to that you know may have spiced it up a little bit or made it unique or some type of an experience that you'd like to share that we could do as a team or whatever, we're open. We're open to any ideas, suggestions. I think you all have been around me enough to know that I don't. I try to do a round circle kind of thing. It's like everybody's involved and everybody has a say, and so the idea that's left out is the one that may change it for everybody. So I always try to um, have an environment where everybody feels like they're a part of something and that they can share, and you never know what somebody's idea is going to do to affect somebody else, even if it doesn't affect the group. So um but yeah, and I was hoping that a couple of people would jump on that had a chance to meet some of the corporate people so they could share, and maybe they will here in a few minutes, but we're going to go ahead and get started anyway. But Rhonda, I didn't know if you wanted to jump in and start sharing. You had some good ideas earlier that we were talking about. So did you want to kind of, okay, I didn't want to steal your ideas and then leave you with
No,
nothing to say.
I'll always have something to say. You don't have to worry about that. I'll pull something out of a hat. Trust me. No, like Greg said, I'm super excited about the summit, and like Greg said, that I've learned a lot of things over the years, but the main thing is that it's relationship business. It's really relationship marketing, and so you need to bond and gel as a team and gel as a company, basically, and kind of lock arms. And what's impossible to do by yourself is totally you can accomplish it as a team, if you all work together, and everybody has their different strengths and their different weaknesses. And you know what, we tend to kind of always look at our weaknesses, but we need to look at our strengths. Look at what you're good at, do more of what you're good at. But what I've learned from going to different conventions and things over the years is a lot about just how important the event is. And a lot of times it's not the speakers, it's not exactly what's happening in the room, it's what happens in the hallways, it's what happens when you're eating. It happens as you travel. It's just, you just never know when you get that spark or that little tidbit that you needed that's going to help you soar with this. And one thing I will tell you that I learned is, like, set a goal of how many new people you're going to meet. It might be 25 new people that you're going to meet in Avini. And I think a good thing to do that, I have to practice what I preach. So you're going to have to hold me accountable too. I think we can all hold each other accountable. But I love it when you can meet somebody, like, say, I'm just going to say Paul Stowers, even though, we kind of know him or whatever, but most of us have not met him. But let's just say it's something like Paul, and you can, like, meet him, and you may already have his phone number, but add his photo, take his picture. And so when that way you have that with your phone. So remember to do that with people. Um, that's been real beneficial. And then in the, what is it, like in the company section, or in the, no, I usually do it in the company section. Like, I'll take notes. I'll put things about that person, about their story, and I'll also tag it with Vegas. So then I know that those are all the people that I met in Vegas, the summit, or whatever you want to say. But then I don't know, that's been super helpful. And like I told Greg, I said, if we can set different like times, like we're all going to meet as a group, like whether it's over for the continental breakfast, and then we all sit in a certain area, like say we're going to sit more towards the right, in the front or whatever. I always like to sit more towards the front because you just seem to get more out of it when you sit in the front and you take that leadership position of, leaders sit in the front, is what I was always told. And And so I never look for the back seat, and people can skirt out too easily if they sit in the back too. So
You're telling my plans, Rhonda.
I know people who would always do that. I'm like, no, you're sitting up front. We got seat. Always say no seat saving, but like we always seat save. I don't
Yeah.
care if there's good seats or I mean seats that you want or whatever. But I think people pay attention better too the closer they sit to the front, and just know that like you can see your whole team kind of engaged is important. But I don't know. Those are just a couple things that, and then also because we have the messenger chat, I thought we could start like a texting thread too with everybody on it. And that's how we'll communicate during the summit. And, that would be kind of helpful for everybody because sometimes people like aren't there, like, where are you? Or we're meeting over here kind of thing. So I don't know, that's a few things I thought of.
Well, the other reason I like to sit in the back is because I can
Sleep
fall
in the
asleep back.
back.
I can sleep back there, and not as many people notice.
Oh my
um,
gosh, too
but
funny.
but honestly, this is your chance to actually get to know some of the corporate people as well. And my experience is that by getting to know them, if you need something, they kind of put a name to a face, and it helps a lot of times. A lot of times I'll go, oh, that's Rhonda. I'm going to go out of my way for her because she was really good to me, at conference or whatever. I mean, it's not just in business that happens. That happens. We're humans, right? And so, we tend to go out of our way more for the people that we feel more of a fondness to than we would maybe if it was somebody else. And so it's your chance to really get out there and get to know some of the corporate people, get to know Rick. I hear Rick is a blast. He's a lot of fun and things. And so, I'm in this for the long haul, and I know a lot of you all are too. And if you're going to be here for the long haul, doesn't it make sense to get to know the people that you're in business with?
Mhm.
And so I want to encourage you. I mean, don't be afraid. These people, the way I always looked at it is they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. They're a person. And so, just because they have a title doesn't mean that, they're in some kind of a position that I can't approach them. So I wouldn't encourage you to approach them the same way I do, but I'm just kidding. but but don't be afraid to go up and talk to them. And a lot of times a nice easy way to break the ice is to say, hey, I really appreciate you doing X, Y, or Z, or like Neil doing the CEO calls once a month. I get a lot out of those, or whatever. And so but it really just get to know the corporate people, but also the people in your upline, because honestly, the way I look at it is they're getting a paycheck off of our efforts. Then we ought to be able to, call them and pick their brain, or get them on a Zoom, or whatever we need to do. They're there for us. And, I haven't had anybody yet tell me, no, I'm not going to do that for you. So the reason they don't show up to do it most of the time is because you don't ask. So we want to be able to get to know, just like Rhonda was saying, Paul and Dave Johnson and Dave Gilday, and get to know those people, because by if we're going to be in long-term business relationship with them, then not only should we get to know them, but figure out ways that figure out, like Rhonda was saying, figure out what they're good at and use them at what they're good at. And I don't mean use in a bad way. I mean, let them benefit your business in ways that they can. And so it just gives us a really great opportunity to get face to face with people, find out who we're in business with, and be able to grow our businesses more effectively. And then we can also take the other thing that this does is it builds this belief in you, right? When you know that you're in business with the right people and you're in the right company, you come out of conference with a different confidence. and your team sees that, your team that wasn't able to go, they can get that from you and see that in you. And so, and it makes you stronger when you talk to prospects. That belief and that confidence goes a long ways when you're talking to people. And so just try to get out there and mingle, and most importantly, have some fun. I really want to, enjoy the time out there, and not only learn, but also get a chance to kind of just chill a little bit and take a break, and just socialize a little bit. So
Greg, I wanted to say something too. I heard Neil say that there's approximately, he only has 25 people that are in the company that are like in the manufacturing plant and that are helping. Like he's not hired a whole lot of people to do all the work behind the scenes. Excuse me. And I think it's really good to meet, say, Heath, who has really helped me when it comes to resetting passwords and doing some of the tech stuff. So then when you reach out to him, he's going to put a face to who's reaching out to him. And that really helps you get a little bit further if you need some extra help. And then also, too, just some of the people that are there, that work with the company, because you never know what they hear that you may be able to get some inside scoop from. So I've always found the closer they are to the people that are, run the company, the more apt you are to get some good information.
Yep. Yep. Well, and the other thing is, I don't remember the number. I think they've got, between 300 and 400 people going to conference. If you think about that, the Rick to you ratio, you're going to have a lot more availability than in a year or 2 or 3, when we've got 3,
Right.
4, 5, 6, 8, 10 fold that going to conference. They're not going to be able to have that individual time with you. And so when I've been in companies this early, I've always loved being able to have more of that time, that high value time that they can't give to everybody individually as this grows. And so
Correct.
take advantage of those things, and
Yeah.
and get with people, and
Yeah.
spend time with them.
Yeah.
I did remember Lisa Turner and Diane. I mean, one of the things that they talked about, I think it was Salt Lake they went to, was how Rick took a genuine interest in them, and he's not always going to have the time to spend that kind of time with each of us as we grow this company. So I just want to encourage you all to take advantage of that time, and that one-on-one type time that you're going to have the opportunity to do this year, that going forward as we grow, it's going to be less and less of that, unfortunately, but that's just just the way it works.
Right.
And Greg, you asked about, like, in the previous company, one thing that we did that I think we all enjoyed was when we were eating, if we were, of course, we were kind of all sitting kind of together, or maybe the kind of a table, it would be like really long, like there might be 20 or 30 of us or whatever. But we would go around and take turns, and we would share what our biggest takeaway was from the day.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that really like stuck in our mind about, wow, we're in the right place, the right time, or something that really just gelled with you. And so, and then everybody got to hear everybody's highlight of the day, and it just kind of brought it back to that moment. So it was a great experience, I think, for everybody, to share their own and to hear everybody else and what they got out of it, because they might have missed something, or just how it related to them personally, because everybody's different. So that was just kind of a fun time, I think, of something we've done in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the more we help each other grow, the better we're going to be off, as we move down the road, and,
Mhm.
working with other people, working with new team members that we bring in, customers, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're here, iron sharpens iron. And so we're here to kind of do that. And that's one of the reasons why you go to conference, right? It's not just to get new products. It's not just to get revved up and the motivation from it, but to get around like-minded people to help maybe you have some areas that you want to work on and you find somebody that's really strong in those. And in all my years in business, I have I don't recall ever having a time when I went to somebody and asked for mentorship or asked for, hey, can you keep me accountable for this or whatever the case might be, that they said no. One of the things that I love about networking is that so many people are here to help. They love the industry. They love helping people. And what excites me more than any paycheck I could ever get is watching my team grow and develop into leaders and have them, grow their teams and develop their leaders. And that, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I really believe this. If somebody had told me when I first got into network marketing how much personal development that it would take in order for me to become what I wanted to be in this industry, I may not have tapped in. I may have tapped out, but when you start experiencing it and you see it not only in yourself, but you see it in other people, it is rewards beyond any dollar value that anybody could put in your pocket. So, hey, Paul, I didn't see you sneak in there. Did you want to share?
Yeah, we're driving back from Nashville. I apologize. Lisa did her competition. Yeah, I was just listening. Y'all are doing a great job. I don't know how much more I can add. You guys are hitting all the right hot points of being at conference and the benefits of it and the intangibles I think that you get out of it. We've been to every one since we've started them. I think this is our sixth one for the national summits. Fifth or sixth. I can't remember now. But anyways, whatever it was. And every time you go, in fact, for us, it's become like family reunion too. So you get to see everybody and hang out and people you talk to on the phone for the past several months, and you're there's just so much. Again, the encouragement is if you can go be there. I mean, the reality is I know it's not always realistic for people to be there. We're certainly not that kind of company that says, oh, if you can't be there, you're less of a distributor. But we want people to know that the importance of being there and the sacrifice it sometimes takes to get there, because it's just one of those things that when you come out of those things, when you're in partnership with a company, like you're talking about meeting Rick and having that, this size of our company, having that really personal contact with the CEO and Rick and others, you get to bring that back, the heartbeat of the company in a real tangible way that it's hard to get from Zooms, right? It's hard to get from phone calls, and not that you can't, because the products are amazing and the company's amazing, but it's just that believability goes up, and when you're talking to people, and you're across the table from saying, hey, I have something that is unique, it's special, it's this, it's that. You have this convincibility factor that just goes up 5 or 10 or 20 times, because that you've looked in the eyes of the people running the company, and you've shaken their hands, you've met them, and you have just this connection at a deeper level, and it's hard, you can't get that unless you're there in person, So we could live stream the event and it would be good information, but I would say it this way: if you've ever been to a really, really impactful conference or maybe a concert, where just maybe it's an orchestra of just whatever, something that wows you, you can watch that on TV and it's good. But if you go to the event, it can just, you're just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And it's just, so it's hard to translate that apart from being there. But, so it's one of those things that if you're going to invest time into something, into a business like this, then make the investment at least one time, if not multiple times, but at least one time, to be able to get and shake the hand of the heartbeat of the company directly. And when you come back and you shake people's hands, that will translate into connection beyond, hey, we've got great products. So as people do business with people as much as they do, your products and everything else, right? So that's, again, you guys are hitting all the right points. I thought I would tune in here. I saw the topic come through a little while ago, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to jump on. So glad I could.
Glad you did,
Appreciate it.
Paul.
Yes. Rhonda?
Thank you.
I had come back from a conference one time, and we were, doing a team update, and one of the guys that had gone out there with me, everybody was like, "Hey, tell us what it was like. Tell us what it was like." And I'll never forget this. He said, it's kind of like trying to give you a haircut over the phone. It's
Right.
like, it just doesn't work. Like, I can tell you some things that happened, but I can't give you the experience. And
Right.
so, there's an emotional experience that happens. There's a synergy that happens when we're together that you can't express and you can't explain. And so, my encouragement to each and every one of you is to go out there and get what you can get out of this, and try to, spend minimal time in your room except to sleep, be out there around people, learning from people, and bring that back and encourage your team to get to the next one. And as soon as we get back, we want to start building to the next event and getting people to, on board, and encouraging them that, they need to go to the next summit that's available, so they can get that experience, because we can't give it to them. We can give them the confidence and the beliefs that we have from having it, but we can't give them the experience. And so,
yep. And I will say this, that if you have distributors in your team, that if you want to light up your business, get your distributors there. Because again, we all know, I'll leave you with this thought. When you go out in this world around your community, we're around a bunch of negative people a lot, right? They're not, they're going to try to, as we call them, they're dream stealers and all that kind of stuff. They're not happy for our success. They're not as thrilled about what, and when you run into those people, as you're out building, especially in the beginning of building something, if you've gone to a conference, it kind of insulates you a little bit. In fact, it does insulate you for, having been around that environment. You've seen people shaking hands with other people across the country, the leadership, and you've heard stories and you've networked, and you come back and you run into those type of people that can cause a new distributor to get discouraged. Because when you know that you have something good, then it doesn't matter what people say. It's like, hey, well, it's not for you, and you're on to the next person. But we don't let those people shut things down for us so kind of, like I said, it's just kind of an insulation, in my opinion. It gives you that ability to deal with those type of people. And there's a lot of them out there, unfortunately. So we got to get to the ones that, have ears to hear. And the number one reason why people fail in this business is that they quit. They just stop. And why do they stop? Why do they quit? Could be challenges. Some people quit for, the software's not working properly, and they're just looking for a reason to quit. Could be a lot of times, and more than not, it's because other people have talked them out of what they first believed in. So I would just say, number one, it brings insulation to you, but to your team members, it insulates them. It gives them that ability to take it out to the world and not stop until they get to the success that they're looking for.
Yep.
So
Yep.
true.
Well,
And I
I'm
think-
excited.
I think it's like the energy. Like when I go to that thing, it's like the energy is so contagious, and that's what I think people are looking for. Like, who are these people? Do I really want to lock arms with them? Can we really do this? And so they need to feel that. And as much as you can see it on a Zoom or hear it on a call, like you said, it's the in-person thing. I've always been an in-person person, so I usually go to everything. because I do know in the past too, it's like the people that plugged in and went to the convention, those people lasted way longer and had way more success, and they were just all around happier. They didn't, like I said, it's just like they could take the bullets, like they had the bulletproof vests on, and the other people were like be laying on the floor, and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you're not interested. Next," and they could go on, or they could. It was people like are attracted to, if you know where you're going, they'll follow you. And so it gives you that I know where I'm going. There's nothing stopping me kind of attitude. And it's just the best way to get it is by going to that. And that's why I've always known that you take as many people as you can with you, because you want them to grasp that, and that will be just enable them to be successful, way more successful if they do it. And if they have, it'll help them have more of a game plan, I think, too, after they leave on, just like I always say, I fire myself every day and start over. It's like it's a new day. So I think it can kind of be a new beginning for a lot of people.
Yep.
So.
For sure.
I'm just going to interject and say the things that I've gotten out of different venues, different things I've attended, is that I leave with an enormous amount of belief, and belief helps us to share. So belief for me it builds so much when you go to events, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Did everybody get the schedule?
Yes.
Kind of. Okay, you got that. Good. Or
And
the rough schedule. The rough schedule.
And we're going to be the hottest team there, right? With 110 degrees. Come on.
Oh, hey. We'll bring some more heat there is what we're going to bring. Well, if we're not smoking when we get there, we'll be smoking when we leave. So.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has safe travels, and God bless your travels and your trips, and let's just come out of this with an enormous amount of feeling like we're right where we need to be. So.
Right. I agree.
Absolutely.
And we pray that Marsha can somehow make it there.
We pray for Marsha.
That's all I can do. You don't know how hard I've been working on this. Let me tell you, I got my work cut out, but
yeah.
If there's a will, there's a way. So we'll hopefully
it's always God's will. If it's God's will, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be there. He's still in charge.
Yes, he is. You're right about that.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have anything they want to share tonight? Maybe something they did at a conference before as a team type of thing that they thought was fun or really helped pull the team together. Anybody have anything else they want to share at all? All right. Well, I appreciate you all being here. Really looking forward to seeing you all here in just a few days. And, we're going to come out of this conference lit up, and I'm really, really excited about Avini and everything that's going on and the direction that we're headed, and the fact that we get to help so many people. I mean, we do have the best products out there. So appreciate y'all being here. Reach out if you need anything, and we'll see you in a few days.
Okay.
All right,
guys.
thanks.
Bye.